This is your ultimate tax refund guide for South Korea. Okay, so if you're planning to shop a lot in Korea, this video's for you. And just a disclaimer, this will be quite long, so I'm going to make this into two parts. Part 1 will be everything you need to know before going to the airport, and Part 2 will be everything you need to do at the airport to actually get your money back. And this video in particular is for people who will be shopping a lot. And by a lot, I mean around 15 or more tax-free receipts. If you shop luxury brands and need to show things at customs, or you just really want to be prepared for everything. Honestly, if you're not buying too many things, you can skip this video and watch the other more simple ones because this will be very detailed. First, let me explain that there are actually 3 different kinds of receipts, and this is actually what complicates things. Like, if we compare it to Japan, there's always immediate tax refund, and in Europe, you basically have to process all of your receipts in the airport. But Korea is actually confusing because it's a mix. Some of them are immediate, some you get a tax-free receipt in the cash register, and some you have to take an extra step to get a tax-free receipt in a kiosk. So let me do a deep dive on the different types of receipts and show you how to sort them out before heading to the airport. The first type of receipt is an immediate tax refund, the second is a kiosk receipt, and the third is a customs approval receipts for luxury items. Now let's go through them one by one. The first is the immediate tax refund receipts, and these are the best. You basically get the tax deducted right at the store or given back in cash at the checkout. And let me show you some examples right here. So this is from Olive Young, this is from Gentle Monster, and this is from Amuse. You can see right there that there's a big sign saying immediate tax free. And I also noted down that they're done right before going to the airport. When I was sorting out my receipts, one of the most important parts was really noting down that I was done with these. So I put them in a separate folder and I didn't have to look at them when I was actually at the airport anymore. And you can actually see in this receipt that I got my 8,000 tax refund and I paid less than the initial amount of 136,000. Now let's talk about the second type, which are the kiosk receipts, and these are the receipts where the refund isn't given in store. Instead, you're supposed to claim your refund later at the airport. Now here's how it works. Sometimes after paying at the store, the cashier will hand you a tax-free receipt along with your normal receipt like this one. So you get it automatically. Other times, you'll need to find a kiosk inside the mall, usually labeled as tax refund kiosk, and scan your receipt there to generate a tax refund slip. It's important to do this before going to the airport because they don't have that type of machine there. Now let me show you what they look like. So some of them are very obvious. They have the global tax-free, so they have it right there in front. But this one is a little bit more confusing because it's actually quite a small font there. So you have to look through them one by one. And this is what the receipt looks like at the end. So typically in Europe, you would have to fill this up. But in Korea, apparently it doesn't matter because you don't actually have to give your receipts. So you don't have to answer this. I did for most of my receipts and that ended up being a waste of time. Anyway, those are the more complicated types of receipts. And honestly, when you have this many, it gets really confusing. So you have to label them and sort them out. For the third and most rare one, these are the customs approval receipts. And you'll only get this if you're buying luxury items or anything above 75,000 won tax refund value. You'll need to get this receipt physically stamped by customs at the airport, and you must bring the item and receipt in your carry-on. This is very important, and there's actually a separate customs counter across the tax refund counter in the airport. By the way, for this type of receipt, your sales associate will probably tell you if you need to show it at customs, so if they say that you don't have to, then don't worry about it. There is one more thing that I wanted to talk about. If you're used to shopping in Japan and Europe, the tax refund is usually by a percentage, so around 10% in Japan and 10 to 15% around Europe. But in Korea, there's actually a tier system, and the more you shop, the bigger your refund will be in general. So this is basically the list of tiering in South Korea, and that's why you probably get a whole number when you get your tax refund. So yeah, this is basically everything you need to know before going to the airport, and like I said, sort out your receipts before going there, and I will be making a part 2 of everything you need to know while at the airport.